guys remember that one? It's like, what song can I pick this time in time. Can't play Alan Parsons again, can I? So this is take 2 again. The last one I just, Anyways, so here's another. Don't mind if I do, hope you don't. Here to talk about some age-old tricks here, guys. And the, what I like to call the Trump deception. I can't believe some people still buy into this stuff. I can't believe there's still many of you on the left who are running around, losing their mind, pulling their hair out, screaming, Trump's the dictator, da-da-da-da-da. So I want to kind of rewind, and this is the part I took on a little bit too long on. So rewind back to 2000, okay? People were saying the same thing about George W. Bush. One thing I'd like to point out about George W. Bush was he was chosen specifically to be the bad guy, because we all remember what happened in the following year in 2001. And I'm pretty sure that not many Democrats or those on the left would have preferred that it would have been a Democrat to ransack, 8 Muslim countries or so, murder about 6 million people, and invade Afghanistan, invade Iraq, invade Syria, and bomb the crap out of a couple other countries. Oh, and on his way out, kind of be the one who was at the helm when we went through what was up till then the greatest financial crash in the history of our country. Would you have rather that been Al Gore, the, not really very liberal investment type? I don't think so. You probably would have preferred it be Bush. So A, it's not your team that's on the hook, right? And, fast forward a little bit, and then we slam to the left, boom! And we've got Obama, who appears very, very liberal and very much on the left. But don't forget, he was the one who actually oversaw what was up till then the largest financial crash in history. And really didn't do much about it at all, except, the toothless bill called the Frank-Dodd Act. And then he proceeded to pick up the baton that George W. Bush passed to him and then go ahead and invade Syria. And then we go back again, bam, back to Trump. These are old tricks, guys. It's called a duopoly, i.e. a monopoly in disguise. Or as Ralph Nader put it, a two-headed monster with the same face and the same makeup. Or his quote was something like that. Also around 2000, okay, there's a lot of prophecy wrapped up in this, okay? We have, lots of cultural examples like Prince's great album 1999. I'm a big Prince fan also. We had Y2K, right? And we also have the Age of Aquarius. Now, I'm not really big into astrology. Not putting it down, but I'm just saying I'm not really big into astrology. And it would seem as if the people who actually run the world wouldn't buy into such kind of prophecy either, but I'm here to tell you otherwise. That's another long story that I can't really get into right now. But the establishment really, really owed Trump big time. And I'd like to remind you guys why. To give you some backstory for those who don't know, his father was a real estate developer and was one of the people who built up New York City in the early 20th century, along with the Kushners. Hey, I hope you guys knew that, because, again, these are just, these are all dynastic families, along on the other side with Clintons and so on and so forth, right? These are all American royalty. So here's to those who really actually thought that Trump was going to do time and be convicted as a criminal and be behind bars and stuff. He's American royalty. And what he did was basically what his father did. He rebuilt New York City after it fell to utter crap in the 70s and early 80s, okay? He was one of the chief people, along with the Kushners and along with Michael Bloomberg, all right, who rebuilt New York City, rebuilt Manhattan, their financial district, and Wall Street, and created what's known as Billionaires Row, which aren't really apartments that are lived in, but are more investment vehicles. But anyways, that was a huge favor to this country to rebuild. I'm not sure if some of you, the younger folks in the crowd, remember, but in the late 70s and early 80s, New York was bleeding out their eyes. They were in over their head in debt that they could never repay. And as I pointed out again recently, kind of like what we're starting to go through now again, it was kind of a case of destroy and rebuild, or much in the example of San Francisco, right, in the past decade. Let it fall to crap, and then we're going to rebuild it, and we're going to come in when and fix up that wasteland and play the role of the good guys, but the whole point was really destroy and rebuild. Destroy and rebuild. It's a very, very classic theme and concept, much older than you or I. I'd like to remind folks that excuse me, Trump up until not very long ago was a Democrat, okay? Has lots of Democrat friends. Let's think about this some more. He rebuilt New York City. Where does he live? South Florida. Who does he hang out with? The hobnob folks in South Miami, Mar-a-Lago, and so on and so forth, right? His buddy Bloomberg, an election or two ago, as I recall, he was either leaning Democrat and ran as an independent, or he was leaning independent and ran as a Democrat eventually. I forget exactly which, okay, but he was certainly not running as an arch conservative, even though he is just that. Michael Bloomberg is one of the richest people in the world, and but he was kind of posing as leaning left. That this is all theater, folks. This is all shenanigans and theater, and it's an old ruse. One other analogy I'd like to bring up as far as Trump goes. Now, those of you who are not so young in my humble and proud little following might remember this guy named Richard Nixon. And back then everybody was shrieking and crying and pulling out their hair and, oh God, this is gonna be the end. He's gonna destroy America. When in actuality, when he took office, he was actually pretty moderate. I wouldn't say he was really liberal, but he wasn't very conservative. Yes, he did carry on the torch of the war in Vietnam, which I'm sorry was really kicked off under a Democratic president, who did, by the way, die and give his life trying to get out of it. To his credit, I'm a big JFK fan. Don't get me wrong here. I'm just pointing out inconsistencies, okay? But before Nixon was even elected president, he was notorious in Congress. He once leveled a charge against another Congresswoman. I think her name was Helena Gagum. That's pretty close, okay? Helena Gagum. And back then, don't forget, we were still, getting out of the Cold War, and it was commie pinko this and commie pinko that. And he called Helena Gagum pink right down to her underwear. Now, back in the 70s, that was triple X language, especially for a politician. That was just, something very, very Trumpish, if you will, okay? But it was shenanigans. And when he gets into office, he actually runs a moderate course. And also, mind you, he is probably the first or the second U.S. president to seriously get traction going for the idea of universal health care. See, your boy does American history, okay? I don't talk about, I talk primarily about the Civil War, and I don't always have time to talk about all these other things, and I'm already down to 1 minute. But Trump is shenanigans. This is political theater. He's not a dictator. He's American royalty sent to us at a certain time to play the bad guy, because we're going through a lot of upheaval, and it's driving me absolutely crazy that some of you don't get this, all right? I'm just going to end on a little screenshot here. The GoPro does horrible with these, but what do we have here? Oh dear, what's that? Bloomberg, Trump, and Clinton yucking it up and having fun and playing golf. Geez, how about that? You don't say. Oh, I'm about out of time, guys. Where's my favorite one? Oh, it's not coming up now. There's one with him and Clinton and some girls wearing Playboy Bunny t-shirts. Anyhow, guys, this is theater. please get a grip. All right, the next few years are going to be bad enough without people losing their minds. All right, see ya.